Dun, 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 dun.
Hello, you're listening to Podium, and just a shout out to our theme music, beautifully sung there by Hannah England. Another career in the offing if commentary never works out. You're with me, Katie Smith, Hannah England, Richard. we like our theme tune. I mean, we hope everyone else does as well. Anyway, we are going to talk about athletics, I think, maybe at some point, or just our musical taste. Olivia Dean was in Manchester this week. Sad I didn't see her.
I was going to say, if you didn't go and see her, then...
Yeah. There's a lot of musicians in Manchester at the weekend.
Yeah, so apparently the Brits were here, and I absolutely
What do you mean, apparently?
Well, it was so passed me by. And then I went and saw a friend yesterday, and they were like, oh yeah, we're at the Brits. And I was like, gosh, you got back from London quickly. And they were like, are you blind? Like, everything around the city has been promoting this event for like 3 years. So I just totally passed me by. So, anyway, I had a busy weekend. What about you guys? Rich, you were out running again?
Yeah, I did the Brighton half, and the conditions were absolutely rotten. I mean, it was very windy, rainy, not that cold, but it was just one of those days where no matter which direction we ran, it never felt like we had a free section, as in having the wind behind us, like
no
easy
relief.
Yeah, kind of. And I think everyone kind of felt that. But I hadn't had any good races recently in recent months, and so I decided to just bag something which was solid and a good marathon pace effort with a fast finish, and it went to plan, which is really good. So that hasn't happened very often recently, and it felt comfortable, which is the whole idea. So the idea was 13 miles, comfortable marathon pace, give it a bit more over the last 3 or 4K. And if I had something in the tank, then that would be good. That would show that it went well. And it did.
Mm-hmm.
So got an opportunity as well to experiment a little bit with Morton products before the London Marathon. Of course, this podcast is sponsored by Morton. You might know. And that's really just practicing. It's really important to practice with the gels, with the fuel you're going to use at the right kind of pace that you're using for the marathon pace, because doing it at easy pace is just not worth doing, really, because you need to know how you're going to sort of take down those gels. So a reminder that if you want to get all that sorted, Podium 2026, morton.com, 15% off. Now's the great time, because there are other half marathons coming up to other races where I'd really recommend, especially if you are new to marathon training, or even if you've done loads of them. I forget just how much of a boost just putting a race in there gives to your training, just to give you something else to look forward to. And hopefully it goes well for you, and then you come out of it feeling completely reinvigorated to go back into training again. A bad day yesterday would have been a very different responce.
Well, especially with those conditions.
Well, exactly. But I mean, it's just, if you have a good day, you are then motivated to then really get back into it again. It gives you a confidence boost, and confidence boosts are so big. And so yeah, it was good. It was good. Thank you. I enjoyed
But then
it.
also, it's the actual recovery. Like, if you look after your body whilst you're doing the effort and you fuel it correctly, then you will be able to bounce back and run again the next day.
Yeah,
I think, you might be sulking. You might still be sobbing into the driving wind, but at least your actual system is a bit more recovered. I think that people sort of assume you go and race, you should be absolutely shot the next day. You should be absolutely screwed. But if you look after your body correctly, you can bounce and go back to back to back, which is very important in a build as well.
Yeah, and I think it was actually really impressive to see how many people really dug in yesterday in those conditions. Like, some of the times I saw from other people, they really went big. And I think there's probably, when I was working on the Winter Olympics in London and we're running these different routes, I didn't miss the wind down here at all. But I mean, you have to really be, I think you really are conditioning yourself mentally when you're living on the coast. Some of these sessions. So I think the people who do live here are like, you're kind of used
hardy,
to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking more people that live in like the Lake District or something. They might have you lot for hardiness, maybe.
Yeah.
But what was it? Emma Coburn put something on Instagram about crazy winds in Boulder right now, saying that people are training there. Yeah, the people training there. She was like, this is serious. But I used to, because a lot of my competitors, so when I was running, a lot of the good competition was from America, and they all lived in really nice places like San Diego or whatever, places like that. And I'd think, when I was stepping out, I was thinking, well, this is making me harder. I was like, if I'm stepping out in the drizzle and the sleet that we get in the UK. So
there is always that feeling when you watch someone like Laura Muir and you're like, literally a hailstorm and a hurricane could come down, and it just if anything would make you run better. There's that like British or Scottish or whatever it is, that grit. I mean, it was pretty windy in Manchester when I knocked out 12k yesterday.
Such a show off.
I know. Well, I've signed up for this half marathon now in Richmond Park in May.
Yes.
So I'm hoping, same as Rich, you were saying, that kind of positive experience. I'm going to go into that with obviously training, but not a sort of super structured, speedy training plan, and then hopefully use that to get me onto a really good time in October when I do the Manchester half. So watch this space.
And summer training is great as well.
Like,
you are?
Summer training is
summer
great.
training.
You'll be able to get some summer training in.
I thought you said summer raining. I was like, don't be that guy.
We all know that's what's going to happen, but we're pretending.
Yeah.
Summer's coming.
Anyway, sort of on the theme of running, and we've mentioned Scotland, so let's go to Glasgow.
Yay!
She said it.
Hannah, we didn't talk about you've done some buggy runs, haven't you? Or you've been doing some nursery running drop-off situations.
I love my routine at the minute. Walk in with the buggy and then run home. But
nice.
I was saying to you guys, I wanted to use the gels for that.
Oh,
because I don't always have time to properly look after myself in the morning when we're all trying to get out of the house. And then I found having a gel on the walk bit, and then when I start running, there's no sort of energy lull and dip. You know, when you just sort of start running, you're like, oh, I could have done with one more cup of coffee or one more slice of toast. Yeah. It's like, no, had a caffeine gel and we're good.
She's ready.
Still pretty slow, but I'm getting there.
10k incoming.
It would have been worse if I hadn't had the gel. That's what
So we were going to start in Glasgow. I think it's a funny week. There's lots of like little bits to talk about. Some really interesting stuff going on in America. Well, not interesting, kind of controversial on the roads. And then obviously we had the US indoors, where we'll pick out a few bits and bobs. Tokyo Marathon. We've got some great pole vault news as well, which just really got us all like lighting up our WhatsApp group the other day. Just so exciting. But I think, should we start with stuff going on in Glasgow? Because we had a bit of a M11 takeover, didn't we? And it was, I mean, some amazing times. And I feel like we start every podcast with Keely Hodgkinson at the moment. So maybe
that's fine.
Do you want to start with Keely? Should we start with Georgia Hunter Bell? Go through? I don't really have a preference. Well, let's start with Keely. So she ran a 400, Hannah, PB 51:49. I mean, there's nothing this girl can't do at the moment. And I mean, she worked for it. She went out and she properly attacked it. But it's just showing kind of, I guess, all the different facets of what she's bringing to the table right now, and just another sign of intent, I guess, if we needed any more.
No, outright PB, I think, indoors or outdoors. And the fact that she won the race to the break over Louisa Stoney, who came second at the British Champs, who's a really sort of up-and-coming Welsh athlete. It was just Hodgkinson winning the race to the break. I was like, whoa, like she really went hard. And probably kind of harder through the first 200 than would be ideal for her optimum kind of 400. But she held on so well and looked so good in the home straight. And I think, this is the weekend of everyone else's national championships. And I think this is the weekend that M11 expected our national championships to be. And that's why this sort of came about, that a lot of them have flown up here. And, we saw Keely kind of have to race at the British Champs to qualify for World Indoors, but being quite open about saying it wasn't in her plans. It wasn't something she thought was the best thing for performance. So I think that's why we've seen a few of them go here on this weekend. And I think Keely said it was kind of fun to do a 400. Didn't she? In the post-race interview, she said, there's only so many 800s you can do. Like, it comes, because it does come a bit monotonous if you race the same distance over and over again. So I think a bit of fun really to drop down to 400.
I find runners, when they use the word fun for any of
you
these
wait
distances,
a few months time when you're a proper runner.
Oh, okay. I'll get back to you on that.
But she did say as well that she does see herself as a 400, 800 athlete as well.
Yeah,
so just wonder how much.
Yeah,
will we see a little bit more of it maybe in the coming years, just to try? I mean, just getting that much speed is only going to be beneficial as well if her body can hold out to it. I think one of the most interesting things that came out of it in terms of the post race is I don't think we were having a discussion about this before we started recording, but we're not sure that she's vocally said, I'm not doing the Commonwealth Games. But she's basically said that. And you expect all the reporters up there to be saying, in Glasgow, you're coming back this summer. And she has said, no, that's not in her plans. So she's very much prioritizing World Indoors in a couple of weeks and the Europeans in Birmingham. And they are quite tight together, the Commonwealths and Europeans. And we will see athletes doubling up, but it doesn't sound like, certainly at the moment. And, things can change, can't they? But it sounds like Keely Hodgkinson has no plans to race the Commonwealths. I'm
shocked because she didn't win Birmingham 2022. She got beaten by Mary Mora. It was just she lost to Athing Mo in Eugene at the World Champs, then to Mary Mora in Birmingham at Commonwealth Games.
But was that not the lesson she learned? Because that I know that was unprecedented. That was the maddest.
And then
summer.
She won Europeans. Yeah, that was
But do you not think maybe she's taking some lessons from that summer and being like, I'm sure she would love to compete in front of a home crowd at Commonwealth Games, but is that too much?
But then we talk about the future of the Commonwealth Games. Like we have got one scheduled for whatever be 3030. Like that is scheduled, but
2030.
Like, 2030. It's way in advance. No, we've got one scheduled in. So but you kind of worry about the future of Commonwealth Games. I kind of say go win one in case it doesn't happen, and it'd be a real shame to not have Commonwealth Games champion.
I don't know, but I guess it might still give us that indication of where athletes see its ranking versus other events. I'm not speaking for her here, but if you're going in as a defending European champion, potentially, I don't know, in terms of Commonwealth rivalries that she'll have, I mean, it's going to be probably as balanced. Maybe even stronger than at the European. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know. Do they, from your perspective, Hannah, like, do you see that as the Commonwealth Games and say, I want that title because it might not be there anymore? Or do you look at Europeans and say, I'm a defending champion, and actually if that's the one with the longevity behind it and potentially the history going forward, then that's the one I target?
I say do both. Because the next time, I could understand this decision more if the Commonwealth Games wasn't in Britain. I could understand it more, not just from like a travel point of view, but just from a kind of profile and an experience point of view. Doing something in the UK, I don't think I'd be able to resist. I'm almost wondering whether there was like a toying cost between her and Georgia Hunter-Bell. Like, one of us will do it. Let's decide which one. And Georgia Hunter-Bell will do the Commonwealths. I don't know.
But I think as well, it does come down to scheduling, doesn't it? In terms of just, if we're just saying, you should be trying to go at every Commonwealth Games. The fact that it is so tight, the scheduling between Glasgow and Birmingham, that is a big factor. And I'm just looking at the schedule for 2030 now, for example. And actually, if athletes want to do that, they're going to have to extend their season. This is an even longer season than we saw for the World's Championship schedule that we're having. So obviously, Tokyo last year, Beijing next year, they are both going to be late in the season again, so mid-September to late September. And the 2030 Commonwealth Games, which are obviously in India, that's going to be late September into October. So you've got to, like in that situation, there probably aren't as many clashes. There will be in other Europeans, obviously, that year as well. And those sort of decisions are easier to make, potentially. You just need to decide whether you're extending your season or not.
And I'm saying this as someone that sits on their backside looking at athletics rather than putting the spikes on anymore. So I'm sure it's the right performance decision.
And is there also the consideration from her that last year, I'm not saying she kind of, like, who you couldn't have known that was coming, but you're probably a little cautious if it was so scuppered in a lot of ways last year, and she missed such a massive chunk. Do you take this year a bit more cautiously and think, okay, well, like, we do actually have to manage workload here?
Well, that's the thing. If you go ultimates, Europeans, world record attempt, all three of those rank higher than Commonwealths. And it would be the first to go, wouldn't it, if you felt like you were being greedy or jeopardizing. And because of the timetabling as well, it's almost that thing of having the Commonwealth Games first and then potentially jeopardizing Europeans and ultimates. It's the order comes in.
And in some ways it's really mature, isn't it? And she's really showing that she's not being complacent about any of these competitions and kind of coming in thinking like, well, yeah, I am the world number one, look at the times I'm laying down, but I still will take this really seriously, and I'm not just thinking I can show up and and like just win it.
Yeah.
Mm.
There
Anyway,
we go.
Well,
But
it sounds like we're all in agreement.
Yeah, but and it's also worth just stating as well that it's a consequence of the fact that these games have been shuffled around, from Australia, and then now you have to fit it in where it can be fitted in, and it's a one-off. It's going back to what looks like a full Commonwealth Games next time. That's the real test, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. So Georgia Hunter-Bell in the 800, 157.80. Third best UK all time, fourth best in the world this year. Pretty nice stuff.
She put on her social media, the one and done.
Yeah. So she's going to race the 15 at World Indoors. So, I mean, I guess a little bit like Keely in the sense of there's probably a kind of shackles off, let's just give it a blast and see. I mean, do you think, Hannah, like it's a bit of a weird one now? She's seen what Keely's doing in the 800 and like 157.8 is obviously incredible, but like it's sort of a bit like kind of people are like, and
yeah. I do think that's a good point, Katie. I think Georgia beat Keely in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And she 154 for the first time. Georgia Hunter-Bell, and I think so she's gone into sort of uncharted personal territory in that 800. But when you're alongside someone that what they can do at their full capacity with a full training behind them, like I wonder what that will make Georgia think for the summer. But she said Georgia Hunter-Bell was very open all last summer. She said, I'm leaving that decision in Tokyo because I'm waiting to see how everyone else is doing. And I think she's been quite open about that. And, that would include Keely if she now knows that Keely's not going to do Commonwealth Games, or that shape her decision on what event she chooses there. And I think we'll still see a fluid decision from Georgia Hunter-Bell influenced by everyone in the world, not just Keely.
Yeah, and one of those people that you were talking about, what other people are doing, was Dariba Watelji, and since we did our last podcast, she has been given a 2-year ban by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. It means that Georgia Hunter-Bell will be officially upgraded to silver from the World Indoors last year. That is a complicated case because it was basically she had she missed an out of competition test on the 25th of February last year, so before the World Indoors. She continued to compete all the way through to July at Pre. And basically Ethiopia cleared her of wrongdoing, and World Athletics went to Court of Arbitration for Sport and said, look, we're not having that. We think she should be banned. So from that moment of the missed test, she continued. She won a medal. She won in Nanjing, and there were rumours around all summer about what is happening with Watelji. And on the eve of Tokyo,
where is Watelji? We said
it. Yeah. And this is one of those. It's one of those sort of not surprising, but also often forgotten about stories from Tokyo. Is that literally on the eve of the games, we find out that she's been given a provisional suspension, and it came as no surprise in some ways to a lot of people. And it's one of those things that would have 100% been on the mind of Georgia Hunter-Bell when she was making that decision about whether she was going to compete over the 1500, the 800, or both when it came to Tokyo. And this uncertainty and it not becoming clear until literally like the night before they're meant to race. That was that's a big story. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next. I don't know whether Watelji if she can appeal or not. I'm not sure what the processes are regarding that, but I mean, CAS have delivered their verdict. And she's banned for 2 years. So Georgia Hunter-Bell will get the silver medal.
And Georgia Griffith will get the bronze from Australia, which is brilliant for her. That's their first sort of major medal. Of course, kind of missed opportunity to have it over the line. And I think that the really important terminology here with this Watelji case is missed versus evaded. CAS and WADA and AIU have decided that she refused a test.
Yeah,
was not a miss, and that's two very different things. We've been talking about Alicia Newman missing 3 tests, not being where she said she was going to be. This was, in their opinion, Watelji intentionally avoiding having a sample collected that day.
The claim was she was asleep. That's the claim.
And that's the thing. When other people have said they're asleep, kind of across the years we go back and back, or they didn't hear people at the door, that's classed as missed.
Missed,
And
yeah.
that starts on your accumulation of missed tests. Whereas, yeah, WADA have gone up against this and decided that it was evaded, not missed. And that's why she's got a ban straight away, just in case anyone's confused. You know, why can Newman miss 3 before she gets a ban? Why is Welteji being sort of banned straight away?
Mm.
Or in immediate effect from 25th of Feb.
Yeah.
Not so immediate effect.
I don't know if people have seen the, you know, kind of naturally kind of reflective post from Jenny Meadows, especially, obviously coach of Georgia Hunter Bell in the camp, kind of because she's been affected by this kind of issues, hasn't she, over the year? And we've talked about that over the years. But like it is just sad a little bit, isn't it, that Georgia missed that moment.
Yeah, I mean, just to confirm all of that, just reading the findings here from Court of Arbitration for Sport, just to make sure we get this completely right. So it says here that they found that Miss Welteji's husband informed them that she was sleeping. The evidence of what occurred since basically the testers departed the property without collecting a sample then consists of fundamentally contradictory witness accounts. While the sole arbitrator accepted that certain technical and best practice departures occurred, they found that Welteji failed to establish any compelling justification for her failure to submit to sample collection.
No, being asleep isn't a reason to not test. Like not hearing that, you know, if you're in the house on your own, that's different. But refusing it. Yeah,
and they have also said that, you know, they accept that there was language issues in that, but that Welteji has a history of compliance for testing. Which would support the view that it was not intentional, but it says the sole arbitrator still determined that the athlete was negligent, and an athlete of her caliber and experience should have known that she was required to comply regardless of the timing of the visit, and the language barriers did not alter this conclusion. Essentially, you know, testers come to your house, it's pretty obvious what they need to do. So that's the situation for that, and it's a sad way for Hunter Bell and Griffiths to get their medals, but that's the way it's going to be, unfortunately.
Well, it's too many wild stories with drug testers and whatnot. But I had an acquaintance who the drug tester turned up and she had to leave for the airport. She was like, if I don't leave now, I'm not going to be able to check in. So the drug tester ended up traveling to the airport with her. She was running late and she was just sort of like, I have to leave now. And they're like, if you leave, you're refusing a test. And so she was like, please just come in the car with me then. It was like, you know, there's all sorts of, when you're an athlete of a certain caliber, you're like, I know I can't say no to you. Like, I know I have to stay in your eyesight and I have to give the sample. Not saying that means
Did it really stress you out, Hannah?
Yeah. I think I've said, like I said that, like I would wake up at 5:30 in the morning wondering whether I'd put the right thing down for 6 a.m. for when the drug testers might come. Like I dreamed that I'd heard the doorbell. Number of times I'd dream I'd hear the doorbell.
Was it always at like frustratingly inconvenient times? I appreciate you give the hour, but like there's probably days where you're like, please don't come today, and then of course they come that day.
No, they would always come on the day where you had a big session, or you'd got in late the night before from traveling, or they come at 9 p.m. and you'd be overhydrated, and then they'd have to wait for 2 hours till you could pee again at 11 p.m. And can you imagine?
And do they just sit with you and you just chat?
Yeah. They just chat and watch what you know. They've come to my parents' house like that before. Like I just had to sit with my parents.
Oh yeah, this is Gary.
Yeah.
Don't know much about him.
Yeah. No, it is invasive. Yeah. And you do want to be like, can you just go away? I'm exhaused.
Yeah.
But you can't. Yeah.
And do you think they understand that? They're really annoying.
No, they do, and it's I can't imagine they want to spend their evening doing that either.
No, I mean it's just such a bizarre thing for anyone who's not gone through it to really imagine.
And it's like you can't exercise within 2 hours of like the blood test as well. So they'd come and they'd be like, "What time did you finish your warm down from your session tonight?" And you'd be like, you know, like when someone asked you date of birth. Maybe when you were younger.
3.5 actually.
Yeah. And you'd just be like, oh, what was 2 hours ago? And then you'd be like, but I better tell the truth, because then if my bloods look weird because I've been exercising, I want them to know that. And like, yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. You guys should I should organise like a mock test for you guys.
We do a live pod, like Instagram
you
live.
roll your top up and you turn around. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It really is like a bit of a mishmash of stuff to bring you today, isn't it? I mean, we've got some great things to talk about. It's just some other British sort of stories that we just want to sort of just touch upon. Staying with the World Indoor Championships, which of course is one of our major focuses at the moment. In the last week, it's been confirmed that Dina Asher-Smith will be at the championships. That's going to be great. And I think a debate to be had whether this is going to be one of the strongest teams that we've seen that GB have sent for
some time.
Can you remember another one quite this strong potentially? I mean, it's squad's being announced.
Is Josh Kerr going?
I'm hoping Josh Kerr still wants to do it, because that was sort of the whispering before this, like niggle that took him out of British champs.
It's this week, isn't it, Hannah? That the team is being named, and I think if we can, when that is announced, we'll try and sort of have a.
So it should be Thursday this week that they'll be.
So we'll try and react to that when it is released. But it looks like potentially it's going to there are some other sort of big talking points as well about who gets the spots, because so many people want them.
Well, and that was a big thing from Glasgow. Jack Higgins hit the qualifying mark, the kind of surprise winner of the men's 1500 at the British champs. He got the qualifying mark by like a tenth. And that's the kind of dream thing when you're in his situation and you hear that the wave lights are being taken up to Glasgow. They're being turned on for this meet that M11 are sort of trying to influence. And then it was almost really fun that Jack Higgins got to piggyback on the back of that. He doesn't train with them. That was kind of really feel good story out of that weekend, I thought.
Yeah, it's a good point actually. I'd love to see Josh Kerr there, especially after how last year ended. You just hope he's got it'll
be versus Cole Hocker.
Well, I know.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Which is also terrifying as well.
It is.
From what he's
I saw a quote from Josh Kerr. It was something like, he said, Cole Hocker couldn't handle me over a mile. I mean, totally irrelevant right now.
Josh, let's not start this again. Come on.
No, I love it.
Yes, please.
I know, it stresses me out though, because then I just feel like something bad's going to happen.
Yeah, what's he going to say? You can't handle me over a mile, but you can over 3K. Let's be there. I can't wait. Yeah, we got 3 weeks of Cole Hocker bragging to unwind.
And the other British line, and before we get into the US half championship fiasco, Louis Hinchcliffe is back with Carl Lewis. So he's gone back to the University of Houston. So how long was he with Richard Kilty then?
Well, for a whole season. I mean, that was the plan. But I mean, it's a real shame.
He's been so injured,
that it hasn't worked out, and the injuries have got in the way. And I mean, he only raced, I'm just looking, 4 events from last year, so and 5 races, 2 of those being the heats and then the final of the British champs. And I think I'm right in saying as well, when Hinchcliffe made did his season opener last year outdoors, he injured himself straight away. It was a low-key meet in Italy. I think his hamstring went.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, look, he made his breakthrough in these circumstances in the US. And so when you've had a bad season, you kind of understand why you want that positive reinforcement, I guess, to go back to. Good memories, legends that's overseeing the program, not a bad person to learn from, worked pretty well last time. It's just, I think there's a lot of sort of goodwill for Richard Kilty in the British athletics community that I think you'd kind of want to see him being a success as well. And I think there's just some unfortunate events that just, injuries that led to this decision in the end. It's just a shame, isn't it? And I'm sure it's no reflection on Kilty as a coach, but you hope that he gets that kind of opportunity to work with the big name sort of Brits again.
The thing that totally baffles me about this scenario is how on earth Hinchcliffe's got back into the NCAA system. Like, please.
I know this has been really playing on your mind.
Really bugging me. Like, answers on a postcard, please. What makes you ineligible for NCAAs right now? Because it used to be you had to go through all these tiny rules, absolutely adhere to them to the absolute letter, else you couldn't compete in the NCAA. And now I don't understand. Like, this guy's gone pro and then he's come back and he's into the NCAA system. And just for anyone that's not aware of the whole situation, Carl Lewis will not coach anyone who is not a current student or someone that has graduated from the University of Houston. That's kind of a big I don't know if it's like a moral thing for him that he believes that's the right pathway for an athlete to take, that he wants student athletes that are furthering themselves sort of academically as well as sport. But that is his rule. So that's why Hinchliffe left in the first place. I think he was content to go pro and take a big contract and race as a professional with Carl Lewis, but Carl Lewis said no. So then he came home to the UK. So to go back to this setup, he has had to re-enroll at university and become re-eligible for the NCAAs. I don't understand. The whole system's gone mad. It used to be you go and be an NCAA athlete until you outgrew that system and then you go pro. It was quite simple. And now it's just, I don't know.
Might have been interesting conversation to go back to Carl Lewis as well, like be a fly on the wall there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Would it? I genuinely don't know if it's a kind of cap in hand situation or if they had, stayed in contact and it was very, very amicable. And he was like, come back, re-enroll.
Well, I don't know. And also, I don't know, like you have professionals that they'll pay their tuition fees to go back to university to finish their degree. But that's not what Hinchliffe's done. He's gone back on a scholarship at the university. He wants to be totally all in and compete for the university, not just a student. I don't know. I just don't understand how you're allowed to do it. We my generation, we just like pay back any like charitable donations we'd received from like when we were teenagers to be able to compete, like pay £100 back to Ron Pickering Memorial Fund to be able to compete at NCAAs.
Way, really?
Yeah.
Gosh.
And now, now it's like, come be a pro for a year, go back, do what you want. Yeah.
Oh, the world's changing, Hannah.
The world's changed. I'm just confused by it. I'm just very confused by it. You can be whatever age you want.
If you have any info, do email Hannah.
Please explain what the rules are.
Right, shall we talk US Half Marathon Championships? This was in Atlanta was it Saturday or was it Sunday? Saturday.
Feel like a half marathon to be on a Sunday.
I think it was on Sunday. So the weekend anyway.
And actually, everything was coming in quite late last night, wasn't it? With the like various statements and things. So this was a trial as well ahead of the World Road Championships, which are September, yeah.
Copenhagen.
And it's fairly simple what happened. The three leaders were about a minute up, I think, weren't they? And they were well clear. They were following the lead car, and that lead car went the wrong way. The three athletes, in the heat of battle, went with the car. And it meant that the woman in fourth, who was Molly Bourne, went the right way, and the others obviously couldn't catch her in time and won the race. And I mean, she was obviously shocked because she knew she wasn't at the front of the race. And it means that because it was doubling up as a trials race as well, there's obviously implications for that. There was 20k prize money on the line as well. So he wants to lead off on this disaster.
Well, I think so. Some key points in this are that essentially they appealed, and USATF said no, there's no grounds for it, and the reason for that is because the course was accurate. It was measured, was laid out fine, as in the directions of where you needed to go. If
they didn't change the course, it's not like they
didn't change the course, and
no.
There are directions on the course telling you where you need to make your turns. So, I mean, as athletes at the front, you would follow the lead car.
Are you sure there would be signs? I'm not sure.
Did you see there was one acknowledgement that the signage at that point in the race wasn't adequate? But I think that was on appeal. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, because you wouldn't. I think you'd assume you follow a lead.
The statement.
Well, the statement said the opposite. Actually, it says the event did not meet the rule that the course was not adequately marked at that point of misdirection.
What does that mean?
It's basically saying there was a signpost to say go that way, and they didn't. The car went a different way, but the sign said go this way. So that's kind of
like follow the sign, not the car.
Follow the sign, follow not the car. Is exactly that.
Because it might peel off at that late in the race. It might even. I'd be thinking it might peel off. Like, it might not take me all the way to the finish, but...
But this says, so the jury of appeals found that the course was not adequately marked at the point of misdirection.
Not adequately marked. No, it says the event did not meet...
So the event did not meet USATF Rule 243, and that the course was not adequately marked at the point of misdirection.
Yes, badly worded, but saying that it did not... it's saying that is basically saying that yes, the course was adequately marked. So the
double
event
negative
did
in
not meet the rule that that was not marked correctly.
I see.
It did not break the rule.
No, it's not brilliant. It's not a brilliant
That
statement.
is an awful
do you see what?
sentence.
Yeah, I know it's a really bad sentence, but it is
I've always
essentially
thought
saying
that about Rule 234 of the USA track and field.
But it is
It
saying.
stood out to me.
Oh, I understand
Yeah.
now. Okay, okay, right, got you.
Yeah.
I thought that was them acknowledging that actually at that point there was an issue, but
No, it's saying there was no,
Okay.
there
This
was no
this
issue.
feels like trying to get out of a parking ticket, doesn't it?
yeah,
But
it's
the other-
therapy.
The other really important point on top of all of this is that this, obviously, usually top three, that would be enough to go through. Now, there is room in that statement for things to change. So, although the appeal was rejected,
And we
does
actually haven't
clearly...
said the names of the athletes either. So Jess McLean, who I think was top 10 at the World Champs, wasn't she, in Tokyo? Edna Kogat and Emma Hurley. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, and of course, and Molly Bourne is a supreme athlete. She's the US marathon champion. The only one. I think it's in the last 2 or 3 months that's happened. So she's well informed, but she completely knew that she was nowhere near the front. And of course, she is following the signage because she's nowhere near a lead car anyway.
Yes, so you're right.
so
that does show that it was possible to go the right way.
Exactly. She's chasing no one. There's no one there. So she knew where to go. But it does say, the team is not officially selected until May. USATF will review the events from Atlanta carefully. While we understand athletes are eager to resolve this issue, our process will ensure an ultimate decision is in the best interest of all the athletes involved. So it's not all over. And I mean, it's interesting as well. I think Molly Bourne's in this really difficult situation where she feels incredibly awkward. And she's won the race. And she would be a fine competitor to be going to the World Roads in Copenhagen as well. But she says, I shouldn't go to Copenhagen. I'm not going to fight for my spot. So basically, she'll take whatever is. She's taking a backseat and saying, I don't know if I actually deserve this, but I'll let And if others want to appeal, almost go for it. And then whatever comes out in the wash comes out in the wash, basically.
And I would expect some sort of goodwill from the organisers or sort of a bit of a nod to that missed prize money. I know you could say the athletes could have gone the right way. It was within their capabilities to go the right way. But when something that's been put on by the organisers causes that mistake, does cause that mistake, I think it's different. But Lausanne, Diamond League, they cancelled the women's pole vault because it was just raining too hard. It wasn't safe. And I heard they kind of just gave them all even prize money. Or it was a slight nod to where they were positioned in the when they stopped the competition, but they also kind of said, well, anything could have happened. And there's also that compensation in there with if you do get that USA team spot as well, that might soften the blow.
Well, and also it's incredibly embarrassing for the race organisers, isn't it? I mean, it's
really embarrassing.
It's an awful look. It's disastrous in terms of it being like a trial race for World Roads. Where was the statement? They made a very pointed thing of being like, by the way, this is absolutely on the Atlanta. What was it called? Atlanta Track Club. They were like,
harsh.
Yeah, they basically said lead vehicles are provided and managed by the local organising committee as per Rule 243.2c, as you would know, Hannah. Any questions pertaining to the course and the vehicle should be directed to the local organising committee, Atlanta Track Club. And you're right.
Really
It should be a goodwill gesture because, yes, the athletes are capable of going the right way. Of course they are. But also they are trusting.
They put trust.
They put so much trust, and they are at the absolute edge of reason at that point, and they're fighting for a spot for something that now might not even happen for them because of a mistake. I just don't think you can put that at the athlete's door wholeheartedly, can you?
Well, and from a very geeky standpoint, which you two probably wouldn't have seen, but this happened at the British University's cross-country championships. The leader got sent the wrong way. And Jared Ward, who's an American Olympian, he actually came through and won for Oxford Uni. But everyone was in outrage that the one official there had sent the poor leader the wrong way. So it can happen to anyone. I think the Bucks guys will feel a bit less guilty about it when it can happen at a big road race in America as well. Yeah,
but my final point on this is that I think this, if I'm reading this statement, it's not a particularly human level statement. I think it's really not very sympathetic with what's happened, and I think it's a bit of a shame that there's not a little bit more compassion in that from USATF. I know it's an official statement, but there doesn't seem to be much acknowledgement of
hopefully
the mess
there's
this
been
has
that
caused.
hopefully there's that behind the scenes,
But it's
to
fine.
the individuals.
That's fine, but we're not seeing that, though. And it's, it's you're putting all the blame on the Atlanta Track Club. Well, you've appointed the local organising committee. It's your decision to put it there in the first place. You're working in tandem with that local organising committee and just saying, do you know what? It's their fault. It's not hands up. Nothing to do with us. I just think I think it's poor, and ultimately it is down to the local organising committee. But you appointed them as the USATF, and you have a measure. You have a measure of responsibility here. And I just think it's it's not the best statement.
It's not cricket, is it?
It's not the best statement. Even if we also take the fact that the wording of it is an absolute mess itself.
I mean, their control of English needs a little work as well. But anyway. Right, shall we go to Greece?
Let's do it.
Right, so this is the Greek indoor champs going on this weekend. I always get nervous saying his name because I feel like I mispronounce it so much. Emmanouil Karalis. Karalis.
Emmanouil. Karalis.
Okay.
Manolo.
Manolo. Okay, yeah, I'll go Manolo. This was amazing. So such great
scenes.
chucked
in our WhatsApp group.
I just got so excited by it. But just like there's so many great videos, all from different angles as well, from different people. It's like people knew that. So there's a massive PB for him, 6:17 at the Greek champs. But what's blown my mind is there's so many amazing angles of it, as though people were expecting it to happen. And this was a PB of 9 centimeters. To go 6:17. This is mind-blowingly unbelievable. Like, what the actual... it's so cool.
What I love was Rich and where did we commentate on him? It was Lievan, wasn't it? Because it was yeah. And we were saying there was this, like, we were talking about it on the roundup afterwards as well, like he's doing this kind of severe pike at the top. We're like, it's unnecessary, look at all that height, don't bother. And he's there going, well, no, I think I can do this. I think I can go over second, higher than Renaud Lavillany's ever gone, second all time. Perhaps that's why he was using such a sharp pike, because he's like, I know I'm going to need it at some point this indoor season. I need to practice that and not muck around. I don't care whether I jump 6:10. That's not going to change anything. I need to jump 6:17.
Yeah,
and new poles as well, which is obviously only used in competition now.
So shiny,
twice.
So shiny.
So that was only the second time he's used them. So obviously they're.
Do we know the
well.
key differences? Like, what are the new poles apart from being longer?
I think it's, again, there's going to be someone that knows way more about this than me. But it's to do with stiffness and length. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you use them.
It's all about the stiffness, the length, and how you use them, I think.
Moving on. In terms of the in terms of what this means going forward, it's look. What it does, and it shows
it's
like
so cool.
It's so cool, and he's not. I reckon he's not even got to. He feels like there's more in that. And
but that's the thing.
You know what this does? It makes us all look good because we've been saying, he's going to disrupt Mondo. He's going to do it. And now you're like, yes.
Well, it just means that, Mondo does have off days, not very often, but it does. And when you're talking about rising to that kind of level, 6:17, approaching 6:20, he can catch him on an off day. And what he's also doing is we have said this before, but what Mondo doesn't, one reason why Mondo is able to go for these world records is because he can enter late in the competition and he can only have to do a couple of jumps to win it. And then he can shoot up to a huge height to go for the world record because he doesn't have as much cumulative fatigue in his body. What Karalis has been doing recently, we saw him last year, is taking the fight to Mondo. So he would miss a height, Karalis, but and then Mondo would clear it. So Karalis would go, fine, I'll go with you. And I'm going to make you jump. I'm going to make you jump again. And then he'll do it again. And it's just one of those things that you can see in not stress in Mondo Duplantis' face, but more of okay, this is something new that I've got to deal with. I've got to try and work through this now as well. I've got to raise my game again. And of course, up to this point, he has done that. But when it gets higher and higher and you keep on pushing, and if Karalis can make this more of a norm, around the 610s to 620s, then that is a big change in the approach that Mondo Duplantis has to have. You still would back him every time to win, but it's just adding that a layer of doubt in competition that I don't think we've had for. We haven't had with Mondo Duplantis.
Did you want to go, Katie?
Me and you are both itching. You go first, and then I'll go.
I was say, until this jump this weekend, I kind of feel like Karalis was stopping Duplantis jumping world records in meets that he was there by making him jump more frequently, by tiring him out. And I never quite believed that would convert to a win. In those Diamond Leagues, I think then Duplantis didn't have the energy to put the bar up to a world record. And now I think it's not even about Mondo having a bad day. Like, I think we just do not know what's going to happen if Mondo actually has to compete at 6:15. We don't know what's going to happen. And I think that is a subtle shift for me that, it's gone from disrupting to potentially beating.
And I also think that we've seen it in other sports too. When you have a generational talent that takes a sport to an entirely new level, to a place that others competing at the time didn't think was possible, obviously everyone ups their game. We can see that here. Karalis has taken it to this new place. It does just make me think, like, he now will think what is possible. I mean, he's just whacked up 9 centimeters on his PB. His form looks really impeccable right now. We've literally been commenting on it. It's so cool that, for people who are not complete experts in pole vault to have been able to see that and then see the change immediately. It's exciting me because I'm thinking, what is it going to push Mondo to do now? Because this is pressure that he's never had in any sort of way. But also, I'm not writing off Karalis being able to get towards 6:30 now. I can see it. And Greek pole vaulting as well over the years. I've just been loving watching that. When such a kind of niche sport becomes such a huge part of a culture, but you can see that it was a packed stadium. They were loving it. And I just have this small feeling like, yes, I agree with you, Rich. Every day of the week right now, I would still give the win to Mondo and I would still back him to, find the form, and he's shown it consistently and he's got the height. But I just wonder what a mindset of having now done a 6:17 will give to this guy. He will, excuse the pun, but the sky is the limit. And he's seen Mondo do it. So he knows the path is there.
But the point is as well that, Karalis is one of those who has said that what Mondo Duplantis has been doing has encouraged and given inspiration to all the other pole vaulters of what can be achieved, what is possible. And what's amazing about that is that he's genuinely believed it, and and this is a result, and that will has a trickle down effects, not just from for all the you're looking at all those pole vaulters who are going clear of 6 meters.
Curtis Marshall
more recently, exactly, and it gives. They're not just now feeding off of the achievements of Duplantis and what he's doing, but now they're like, well, Karalis can do that, so then I can do that too. If we were in a very similar level a year or two ago, now that we're here, look where I can get. And I think that makes it very exciting for the sport.
Well, and I think if the local organising committee for Birmingham Europeans hadn't already said they were building an extra stand, they should now.
The groups are coming.
They've added extra seating because of because they've sold out. But that men's pole vault, those two to go head to head at the World Indoors and at Europeans, I think seem pretty good. And probably Ultimates as well after that, wouldn't they?
Yeah. It's exciting. Cool. He's also just an incredibly likeable guy. I think so many of the pole vaulters are, which sort of makes you just really happy for him as well. Right, so watch that space. US indoor champs this weekend as well. Do you guys want to pick out any particular performances? We kind of agreed before we went into this that we weren't going to deep dive into everything. Rich, you've got your hand up.
Well, just to stay on the same theme, because Hannah and I have when we were on that commentary in Iran recently, Chris Nielsen had a bad day that day. He bowed out the competition early, and unfortunately we had our timing and scoring and result system was down the entire meet, so we couldn't see what was going on. But Nielsen bowed out early. Now, Nielsen had a really bad year last year. He picked up injuries at just the wrong time. So just before the World Indoors, he got that at the last US Indoors. Was it hand first and then back?
Hamstring first, abductor first, then hand.
Yeah. So then later in the season, in a meet in Europe, then he missed the rest of the season. Basically, put him out of the World Championships in Tokyo. So he just had really bad luck last year, and he's one of those who is, one of the main challenges at every single event. And so he's a nice guy as well. It's kind of like you kind of want him to do well, and he's earned a place basically at the World Indoors because he had to have a jump off to get there. Zach Bradford won the pole vault, but Nielsen came up on top. Was against Casey Lightfoot.
Yeah.
And so who's also been in great form this year. He's returned to form.
Mm-hmm.
But just really nice to see. I mean, not great for Casey Bradford, but it's good for Chris Nielsen that he's sort of making this way back. And he's said right at the start of the season, a lot of the Americans said off year, down year. He said, this is no down year. I've got basically like
he's been listening to us.
Yeah,
like we've been down year.
Like we've been saying about Keely Hodgkinson, when you miss time and talking about whether you're just still trying to make up for lost time.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the case with Chris Nielsen. And that's a really nice result, I think, to bring out of the US Indoors.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was kind of intrigued to read it, like the jump off kind of scenario, and because we saw a jump off Katie Moon and Nina Kennedy in Paris, wasn't it? They did do the jump off after not doing it in Budapest. But yeah, I think USA track and field in this instance with this rule, having to have a jump off so that they could only take two people to World Indoors. Like I think that's these guys when you go through that, it must be really, really tough. So you feel like he's really earned his spot doing it via jump off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What are the other sort of results that you want to pick out that you liked from this? And there were some big names there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cole Hocker, Yared Nuguse, Nico Young kind of blanket finish in the 3K was cool. And any one of them are probably deserving of the team, but then to have Hocker and Nuguse finish 1 and 2, if you were going to place bets, that's probably what you'd say. But then to come back the next day for the men's 1500 for a nation that has 11 guys that have the standard for the World Indoor Champs, and the 2 automatic spots, if you like, first and second, those athletes don't have the qualifying mark. Nathan Green and Luke Hauser. Luke Hauser was a previous medalist in Nanjing in this event. But for those two to win it, you're like, that's such a selection headache. I mean, they have the ability to go and chase the standard now or move themselves up the ranking. But I just love, I love 1500. I'm biased. I think it's brilliant. We've talked about the men's 1500 being unpredictable on a global stage, but I think that's just hilarious that anyone else in the field, literally, I think anyone else in the field comes in the top 2, that's it. They're going to Poland, but they couldn't get the job done. Like they couldn't do it in a tactical race. I think Nuguse and Hocker got themselves in a really horrible position around the bell. There was a fall that kind of affected it. But yeah, for Nathan Green, Luke Hauser and Vince Ciatti to come first, second, third, it's I don't know. It's just not what's meant to happen when you look at the form book, and that's why I love it.
Yeah, but that's when the selection criteria is just so great, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I love the US thing. Those guys, it's in their hands now. They go and chase a standard. I think Ciatti already has it. So if the Nuguse is sitting, he's a second out of the people with the standard. Cole Hocker is not going if everyone takes their spot. He's in 5th. And Hocker said he did feel tired from the 3K the night before in the big sprint finish, but he also said he was a bit stressed about what to do in Turin between the 15 and the 3K. So maybe this makes his life a bit easier. If you're only in the 3K,
That's
just go
true.
Focus on that.
Yeah.
Just go take on Josh Kerr with no distractions about a second of event.
At least it's not over the mile.
Yeah, because he stands no chance.
Noah Lyles was pretty underwhelming, wasn't he? So went in the 60, finished 3rd. I mean, we know it's not his favoured sort of discipline, but I guess we didn't really know what he wanted to do anyway, Rich, right? World Indoors or whatever.
Well, I think Hannah's gone through listening to a lot more of the interviews than I have afterwards. As in, sometimes,
right, okay,
so being at the US Indoors hasn't in recent years has never really been necessarily an indicator as to whether you're going to whether you actually want to go to World Indoors, whether you win the top 2 places or not. But I mean, if he was thinking about it, if it was an option, then it's not an option anymore because he came 3rd. But he came 5th. It's Jordan Anthony that won that ahead of Trayvon Bromell. I mean, what in terms of some of the big names that we've looked at? Do we know? So Cole Hocker's definitely going. Yared Nuguse is going. Is he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just quite hard until we see these team selections, isn't it? As to exactly what people's intentions are.
Can I say one thing about the Noah Lyles thing though? Did you see him awarding the WWF belt to Jordan Anthony? Because it's like
No.
a club. It's like who's won the race out of their training group belt. And he did this big kind of fuss in Arkansas when he won the 200 there, like parading around this belt. And then he presented it like live on TV to Jordan Anthony as sort of like, oh, you've beaten me. And there was like, quite a lot of banter going on. And Jordan Anthony, I love, it was a quote afterwards. He said, I bring my football mentality to our training group. At the moment, Noah Lyles is just bringing old age. Which I thought was brilliant.
How old is Noah Lyles? 26?
I don't know, but like, yeah, ripe old age of 26. Yeah. But I loved, there was sort of, we talk about that rivalry and bringing that kind of element.
28 now.
28, yeah. He's only bringing old age to the table and, a shed ton of gold medals. But I quite love that, the emotions between those two.
Yeah.
One story that I just wanted to bring as well, we talked about the heartwarming ones, the likes of Chris Nielsen, but on the other side, you get Alicia Johnson, who was disqualified, ran under protest in the final. I mean, she didn't come top 2 anyway under protest, but she has put, it seems to me, especially as someone, we live in Europe, so we're watching all these meets, she's put so much in to trying to get into the world indoors over the last 4 weeks. One of the busiest athletes that we've seen. She's turned up everywhere. She did, just counting them now, I think she did 8 events in 4 weeks in the build up to the US indoors, which is a real statement of intent that she wanted to be there. She's always been there or thereabouts in pretty much every race, looking at lots of second and third finishes. She got 1 win in Lyon right at the start of the season as well. She's in top 10 for fastest times. Anything can happen on race day in a final, and then this happens. You get DQ'd, and it's that's when the brutality of the US qualification system really does show up. Because if you're looking at, in terms of those who've really sort of worked hard for the spot in terms of competitions they've been in, then you'd put her pretty much near, or if not at the top.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it's, you kind of say, have you raced too much? Have you travelled too much? But to finish that kind of campaign on a DQ is so cruel. Like, that's you would say maybe you've done it absolutely perfect, but we will never know. And even if she wasn't in the top 2 running under protest, the emotions of running over protest, under protest are too kind of too much to unpick. But Dylan Beard beating Trey Cunningham, like those two have been in fantastic form. And I that's a really exciting US team. Those two, they're kind of athletes that have been close and had their issues with injuries and making teams and this, that, and the other. But I think those two are really strong. I was excited to see Nikki Hiltz get 8 straight US titles. Like that goes. I think people started making a fuss out of it outdoors last year when they realised that was going to be kind of 7 on the trot. But 8 straight. That's some real dominance domestically. We haven't seen that. I don't think we've seen that from anyone else in the US at all, apart from maybe Chase Jackson. I think she won her 10th straight in a US indoor record. But on the track, I think Hiltz is probably the most consistent.
Mm-hmm. Shall we move on? I mean, conscious that we're always at an hour, so thank you for your patience
Cooper
and sticking with us.
Cooper Luchtenhouse, like is the real deal.
He really is, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he is going to Poland. So let's say he didn't have the greatest of world champs at Tokyo.
But he's got to learn.
He's got to learn. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely, he is. But he's been talking himself up for that, and he's a special talent. I mean, just what he could do in the years to come is just, who knows. Tokyo Marathon, should we finish there? I mean, there were a lot of national champs going on, some very impressive results across the board. But let's just finish with the Tokyo Marathon. So the first of the big majors of the year, the winners, not necessarily a surprise, but Bridget Kosgei with a huge course record to win, 2:14.29. That's her second best time ever. So it goes straight up into one of the best marathon times ever. Only behind, of course, the world record that she set in Chicago in 2019, which of course has been beaten a few times since. But it's a minute and a half quicker than the previous course record. That was set by Sutsumi Kibede, the 2-time winner who finished 4th, so outside the podium places this time in Tokyo. And that was it was such a convincing win. One of those ones where you see just a couple of women racing with some fast men who've dropped down, and the rest of them the rest of the women's field couldn't really keep up. There was a decent field there as well, but this was all about Bridget Kosgei, basically.
Are you shocked? Are you shocked by that time, Rich? Did you think she still had that in her locker?
Yeah, yes, because of what we saw her do in Shanghai. So she
did. As in you weren't shocked?
No, not shocked. No. As in, yes, she had it in her locker.
You sound like USA Tia.
Yeah. Can you make that noise?
It's actually rule 243.
I think it's because you see, I was. If you go back this time last year, she wasn't anywhere near her best form, and you wondered whether her best days were completely behind her. I think she raced Hamburg or something like that, and then she came to Sydney, finished behind Sifan Hassan, and not that far back from her
gaining,
in the end.
Wasn't she?
She was gaining
on her.
Yeah, she needed like another mile or something. And then she won quite impressively in Shanghai. So the fact that she's then gone, she's following this lovely curve from her point of view in terms of performance. So dominant win from her. And I think also she hasn't talked that much about this whole switch to Turkey, but I mean, she did sort of back end of last month, I think, in some African press, did pick up on the fact that she was confirming that she actually dropped a few more Kenyans into it and said they're coming with me, but they haven't confirmed that with her. She's spoken about it again after winning. She just said, we have a lot of athletes in Kenya. I want the young generation to follow my step and join me in Turkey. I'm sure it's got nothing to do with the money.
Nothing to do with money. That's quite a statement, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want I guess she's saying some of the young generation, not the young generation, but I don't know. That's quite an inflammatory statement to put out there. Like if I was an athlete in Kenya, I don't know if that would kind of rile me up
Wind
a bit.
me up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But she looks good again, Kosgei, and I guess we'll wait to see whether she wants to go even faster again when it comes to maybe she fancies Berlin or something like that.
But then do we assume if she's going to have a paycheck from Turkey for this allegiance change, do we assume that means Beijing World Champs and LA Olympics over these World Marathon majors? Yeah, if they want you to pull on the national vest and represent them, it's going to be to the best of your abilities in those marathons, not on the road, not in the World Marathon majors.
A little bit too soon. I don't know how it works in terms of is she going to be eligible by then?
She's probably all right because she's not competed for Kenya for a while. I think you have to have 2 years where you've not competed for Kenya.
Is that is that the rule?
Yeah, and that's why we saw the likes of Virginia Campbell, Roger Stoner, and these other athletes sitting out Tokyo because they needed to start that clock from Paris. I think Campbell maybe didn't even do World Indoors in Nanjing. I think that was maybe I'm backdating it too far, but you have to have 2 years clear from your previous nation.
Well, yeah, if she's ready for Beijing, then you'd absolutely have to say that would be a priority.
You're right. It might not be. Yeah, it might not be ready.
But I mean, the whole plan is to be ready for LA. That's the idea. The men's race was completely different. So whereas Kosgei goes out fast and is pretty much on her own or with just a couple around her for the entire race, the men's race was incredibly tactical, not that fast. It was the win was Delesi Tekele, 2:03:37, and it came down to a sprint finish again. There's just something about Tokyo. If we go back to the World Champs, and they just have a habit of doing this as well. This race, so I think it's one of those that's. If you look at the challenging courses and you rank them in terms of easiest to hardest, it kind of falls somewhere in the middle, Tokyo. So there's always like little quirks that athletes mean that they don't want to run too fast. You haven't seen anything that's like rapid from any, especially on the men's side. Yes, we saw that with Kosgei, but they do tend to sort of have these kind of races that are a little bit more tactical, come down to the final finish. Tekele wins it ahead of Jeffrey Turicic and Alex Matiso, the former London Marathon winner. It's back-to-back wins now for Tekele. Didn't go well for him in Tokyo at the World Champs because the selection was to sort of go for the winners, the athletes that had gone well in the past. But he's kind of like I don't know if you've seen much of Tekele before, but he's kind of got a very different kind of physique to a lot of male marathon runners. He's kind of looks a lot more powerful, and if you look at that sprint finish, Matiso I guess kind of falls into a similar kind of category as well. But the power that Tekele showed in that final straight to win, and he wasn't a massive win, but you did you do watch it and think there's one winner here. I think that's the guy. That's the if you're going from the moment that they really are going for it, you're backing that horse. You know.
Do you think when we've spoken a bit about why have we suddenly got these sprint finishes? Why? Yeah, my theory being that there's such a density of athletes between 2.2 and 2.5. If you put yourself out there as a de facto pacemaker, you're gonna suffer. Whereas like previously, we might have a single athlete that's capable of 2.2, and they just go out and kind of dominate the race. But then I'm also wondering if these guys with the new shoes and fueling methods and everything like that, if they can do 3 marathons a year, is that another reason why you'd slow down? If you kind of say like, well, hang on a minute, why go out at 2.2 pace? It doesn't mean anything. It's not 2.1. It's not world record. It's not this. Let's all go out at 2.5, 2.6 pace, because then we're likely to be able to fit 3 in a year. And I don't know. I'm just fascinated by why we keep getting these blanket finishes. And I don't know. Maybe they've all just clubbed together and gone, we need to raise the profile of men's marathon running, and this is the best way to do it. We all just have a massive sprint finish.
But also you got to remember, like, the stakes are higher, especially at major level when you're talking about prize money. So I guess if you kind of compare this to something like a team sport where you have 2 massive teams up against each other, and then it ends up being really cagey and boring. And that kind of is what we have to watch all the way through to these moments, by the way. I mean, it's not it's fascinating to know what's going to happen.
I don't understand why they're doing that.
Because my point being, maybe it could be like because the rewards on offer are so good that you kind of don't want to go out fast and blow up and miss your chance.
Pull someone else away and hand the victory to them. Yeah, all
of you can run, well within yourself instead, and then have a burn up at the line and back it in. All of them are backing themselves to win that.
We used to have a 2.5 race with 10k to go. Someone would pull a crazy move, and that'd be it. And they're just not doing it. They're not doing it.
We'll still see it. Like, we'll still see it in races. Yeah. But it does seem to be following a little bit more of a trend at the moment. And the money in athletics is in road racing at the moment, isn't it? The rewards are just so high, and you just wonder whether you kind of are thinking, let's just get to the end and then just battle royale and see who wins.
To my point, the appearance fees are awesome as well.
They are.
So if you can compete in a way that unlocks an extra marathon a year, you're going to make a big wad just like that, just from being able to sign up to another one.
And record bonuses are massive as well. Course records, world record bonuses. Some of them are, insane. You're going into a race with the world record bonuses that are on offer in some of them. I mean, so you are going to see some people go for it. Obviously, you will see people go fast and blow up. And there's the others that will make it stick.
And we're talking about it, aren't we? So it's working.
Yeah.
It's good fun, isn't it? It's good fun at the end.
Yeah, well, exactly. And that's the point of marathons, right? Is you want sometimes it to end like that, and in Tokyo apparently it only ends like that, and then you want somewhere it's like some obscene solo effort, or a battle in the middle part of the race that then completely shatters it. So yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Right, I think that's us done for today. Well done, everyone.
Thank you.
Well done, everyone.
Good. I don't know why I'm congratulating us. So we've got another episode coming Thursday. Are we going to do like a little emergency? Well, it's not an emergency, but like a reaction pod for the British team. We'll see.
Ask British Athletics to please announce, before a certain time, and that will give us time to. It would be fun, wouldn't it? I think from a British point of view, to know who's really put their hand out. Basically, Josh Kerr. We could find out.
That's odd.
There are others as well. Molly Coulter.
Yeah, in fact, actually, if you look at the team on Thursday and Josh Kerr's not included, probably not going to do an episode. So
we'll be sulking.
Well, last time we managed it, I pulled in Preet Majithia, didn't I, from Citius Snag podcast to do that when we were in.
We were in
Zurich, so I was like, can you help us do the British team announcement in emergency pod? But we'll see if we can all come together at least.
Well, it's my birthday this week, so
it
is. Friday, my birthday on Friday. So
Keep these
you might have to pull in Preet if you want.
I didn't know we were both March babies.
Oh, now you do.
Oh, how lovely. Okay, well, happy birthday, Hannah, and. My kitchen's also being delivered on Friday, which is exciting.
It's not about you, it's about me.
Okay, sorry. You are quite excited about my kitchen.
I am.
What are you doing? Taking your dog out for a walk?
Yeah. Going to the Plough, best pub in the world.
Same as every Friday.
So, yeah. Just your average Friday in Harborne.
Just drinking a little bit more this time.
Guilty.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, we will see you soon. Bye.